This is the long-awaited conclusion of the eBay scammer story video that I posted, it was a year and a half ago. And the investigation, the case closed about 2 days ago. I'm just going to give a quick, brief recap if you want to see the previous videos that I had showed, kind of giving updates along the way in the story as to what happened. Oh my goodness. There's so many people getting scammed on eBay, and eBay just does not care. Like, that's the first thing you need to know, especially if you are a seller on eBay. So, sold an item, had the tracking number, put the tracking number into eBay. It was about a $150 item. And I was watching the tracking, you know, and it was delivered. And I want to say within like 10 minutes of it being delivered, or being marked delivered, I get a message on eBay from the person saying, hey, this says that it was delivered, but I didn't receive it. I don't have it. No real red alarms going off in my head, because in my mind I'm like, look, I gave you the tracking number, it says delivered, you got to take this up at the post office now. And as far as eBay is concerned, usually that's the end of story. It says delivered, okay, you got it. Then all of a sudden she changed the complaint, or filed a new complaint, saying that the item that she got was not as described. And at first that's all the information I knew, and I was like, no, like, this item was in mint condition. I'm like, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking, you know, does she like think she sees a flaw? Did she find a flaw? Like, I'm kind of annoyed at this point. But then I just see in the description of her complaint, it says that I sent her a picture of a turtle. She purchased, and I sent her, it was a mini backpack, you know, one of the Disney ones, a collectible one. If you follow me on my channel, you know I do collect them. And I had needed the money, so I sold that one. And I'm like, a picture of a turtle. I'm like, is this woman insane? So eBay instructed her to send me the item back. So I get in the mail one day, and again, you can look back at the videos. During the same time, I had several listings on eBay of things I was selling, and I would sell, you know, I do artwork. Like, oh, here's one on my canvas right now. But I had some watercolors up that I had painted. Well, there was a picture of a sea turtle. She took my, you know, the thumbnail image from eBay from my account, printed it, put it in like this dollar store frame, and mailed that to me, as if that was the item that I sent her. Oh, the brazenness. I'm like, what the heck is this? And I mean, eBay couldn't be bothered. How do you prove to them this is not what I sent her? So the money was taken back out of my account. I did not have any choice. Because in a lot of the comments, people were like, oh, I would just refuse the refund. I did. This is why eBay now has access to your account is linked. They yanked that money right back out, plus a $20 fee for like their inconvenience, or for me scamming somebody or whatever. And I'm like, oh, if that happens to you, if anything like that happens to you, eBay will be useless. I'll just tell you that right here and now. I was so angry. I went on like the deepest dive, putting in this woman's name. I did Google Earth search to see like the neighborhood of where she lived. And here I was able to find through public record she did have like a past crime or whatever. So anyway, I had all this information. Not that that mattered to my case really. But using, you know, I knew the city and town where she lived. I reached out to that local police department. I sent them a letter and I said, look, this is what happened, knowing full well, you know, they're probably not going to have the resources to look into it, but it's just like when you get scammed, you just feel like you have to do something. So I'd done that. He called me back, or he called me after I sent the letter. He called me and left a message to call him, and I did, and I was like, oh my goodness, thank you so much for calling. And he had told me you have to start out with your local police department jurisdiction. So if you are scammed on eBay, number one, go to your police department where you live. 9 out of 10 times, probably 10 out of 10 times, they're gonna say, we don't have the resources. Unless you live in a big city, they're not gonna have like their own online crime lab department, but they will take your statement and they will give you a report number. All you need is that report number to go back to eBay and they'll refund your money. That's what they did with me. I'm pretty sure that's what they'll do with anybody else. Not because they're like, oh, maybe we were wrong. Again, they could care less. They just want their money. But now they know you have filed a legal police report stating I was scammed on eBay, and they don't want any part of that. So like, here's your money, goodbye. And at that point they did. They refunded my money. So I went to my local police department, and again, they were super nice, saying like, hey, you know, there's really nothing we can do about it, but they took down my report. And I had told them, hey, look, I've already been in contact with the police department over here where the scammer lives. So my local police department did forward that on to, I gave them the detective's name and whatnot to forward that on. I guess police department B over here couldn't start their investigation without being forwarded the first part from where I live, if that makes sense. So even if the road ends for you with your local police department, if you have that report number, give that to eBay, they should give you your money back and you can be on your way. Police department where she lives, they were so wonderful. Like, I could not believe that they were like putting so much time and effort into this. I was kind of wondering, I'm like, are they already like on her, I don't say wish list, hit list, I don't wanted list, and maybe they're just like looking for a reason. I do believe she was living with her parents at the time, and that was the address the item was shipped to. That police department, they collected, you know, all the information I had. The framed picture of the sea turtle that she sent me, I actually boxed up and sent it to the police department. They had gone to her house a few times. She was like kind of dodging them, so they were having a hard time like getting her or finding her. There was attempts to get the post office records, both on my end and the detective's end. And I think at that point, maybe the records only went back like 6 months. I don't know, by that point in time where we had attempted to go back and get that. Because I know on the receipt, I didn't have the receipt. Because again, I put the tracking number in. I've torn my house apart looking to see if I still had it. But I know on the receipt, it would show like the weight of the box. And I know the weight probably would have been different. But that was a dead end. They eventually got her during a traffic stop, and right after that had happened, the detective called me to give me an update. They were so nice. So, and he's even like telling me this extra stuff. He's like, yeah, the boyfriend was with her, and you know, he was really pissed off and he was threatening to fight the cop, and I'm just like, these guys sound like winners. So they took her down to the station. I mean, I wish I could be a fly on the wall to see her sitting in a police station and they pull out the framed sea turtle picture that she sent me. Because we're several states away. Like, I'm sure she never, you know, expected things to go that far, be called into the police station. And they confiscated her phone at that point. And even in that moment, I felt like that was a win. Just to cause that much of an inconvenience, probably some fear, like I'm sure she didn't expect to see the sea turtle again. But in this day and age with our phones, like to have the police call you in and you leave without your phone, like they took her phone and confiscated it. Of course the phone was locked, but that was the update he gave me at that time, that they now needed a search warrant, which would take some time to be able to crack open the phone, however it is they do that, and looking for evidence there that she did in fact have this bag. And who knows if she did or did not still at this point, or if she resold it. I mean, at this point, if it was still in her possession, like it's time to go in the backyard and burn it or something. Get rid of it. So that was several months ago. 2 days ago, he calls. You know, I recognize like the city and town on my phone, and he's like, hey, this is Detective so-and-so, and I'm like, how the heck are you? Like, just, you know, we kind of had this good rapport going on. And he laughed, and so he's just calling me with the final update. And he said, you know, we were able to finally open up the phone and use, I mean, you see on the crime shows or whatever they use to plug it into and retrieve all the data, even things that have been deleted or whatnot. And he said, you know, there were some pictures, some videos, but really it did just look like a phone that was used for like in and out calls. It wasn't like they didn't find anything that would have been helpful. She was under surveillance for a while. but everything was just kind of leading to a dead end. So he's like, I'm really sorry. He's like, but this, you know, this is, we're officially closing the case. I said, don't apologize. I said, you guys have gone so far above and beyond, and it's just kind of the principle of the matter of, you know, hey, this is very blatantly theft. It really is disheartening how many online scams there are, and just ones that it seems like you can't even prevent it from happening. Like, I'm not sure what I could have done differently here. And it really does make you think twice before selling online. But thanks for either hearing this story for the first time or checking back around to see the conclusion. And I'll hope to see you again next time. All right, bye.